Tennessee's at-home learning series for math. Today's lesson is for all of our 7th graders out there, though all children are welcome to tune in. This lesson is the first in our series. My name is Kayla Anderson, and I'm an 8th grade teacher in Tennessee schools. I'm so excited to be your teacher for this lesson. Welcome to my virtual classroom. Today we will be learning about creating and evaluating expressions to analyze real-world situations in mathematics. Before we get started, to participate fully in our lesson today, you will need paper, pencil, and a surface to write on. Okay, let's begin. Today we will be reviewing expressions and how they can help us in the real world to reach a solution. Recall the difference between expressions and equations. So I'm going to write some vocabulary words and their definitions on the board. It may be a good idea for you to go ahead and jot down those words and their definitions somewhere on your paper so that you have them to refer back to as the lesson progresses, because they will not be on the board the entire time. So again, we're going to be recalling the difference between expressions and equations. So your first vocabulary word is expressions. And your second vocabulary word is equations. So recall that the main difference between an expression and an equation is that expressions do not have an equal sign, whereas equations do have an equal sign. And I think that the EQUA in the word equations and the EQUA in the word equal can help you to remember that equations do have an equal sign. So I'm going to pause for just a second so that you can write those definitions down if you would like to. To accompany those vocabulary words and the definition that we have there, let's also write some examples. So because an expression does not have an equal sign, something like 3x or 4y plus 6. Those are two examples of expressions because they do not have equal signs. Examples of equations would be taking these expressions and adding an equal sign and something on the other side. So 3x equals 7, or 4y plus 6 equals 3y plus 2. These two are equations because they do have equal signs, whereas this one is an expression because it does not have an equal sign. So I'll pause for a second in case you'd like to write those down. So the third vocabulary word that we're going to add is variable. And remember that a variable is just a placeholder for an unknown value. Typically, we use a letter to represent a variable. So in the expressions that we have here, x is the variable and y is the variable. They're letters that represent an unknown value. In our equations, again, x and y are the variables there. They're placeholders for values that we don't know. If you'd like to write some additional examples of variables out to the side here, you could use x, you could use y, you could use m, really any number, or excuse me, any letter that's going to be a placeholder for that unknown value. So if you'd like to jot any of that down, go ahead and do that. Okay, so have you ever wondered how you could save money and make sure you have enough minutes and texts to talk to your friends? Writing expressions to model real-world problems can be very powerful and helpful in making decisions. Let's take a look at an example. John's father asked him to compare several different cell phone plans and identify which plan will be the least expensive for the family. Each phone company charges a monthly fee, but this fee doesn't cover any services like phone lines, texting, or internet access. We're going to use the information given in this table to answer some questions. So go ahead and take a look at the table. You'll notice that we have 3 different companies to choose from, and that we are discussing monthly fee, price per phone line, price per line for unlimited texting, and price per line for internet access. We're going to use expressions to save money while still getting the best phone plan. All the members of the family may not want identical plans. Therefore, we're going to let X represent the price per phone line. Y is going to represent the price per line for unlimited texting. And Z is going to represent the price per line for internet access. Let's take a look at Company A. Company A charges $70 as the monthly fee for the 1,500 shared minutes. Company A also charges $20 per phone line, $15 per line for unlimited texting, and $15 per line for internet access. Your job is to write an expression using these variables X, Y, and Z to represent what Company A will charge. Again, it's an expression, not an equation. And remember from our definitions that equations have equal signs, but expressions do not. So when you write your expression for Company A using the variables X, Y, and Z, you're not going to have an equal sign. So I'm going to pause and give you some time to write down an expression to represent what Company A will charge. Okay, so let's take a look at what you were able to come up with for Company A. So to represent Company A's, to write an expression for Company A, I am going to have a $70 fee for the 1,500 shared minutes, plus $20 for every line, for every phone line, which I'm going to use X to represent, plus $15 per line for unlimited texting. We're using the variable Y for that, plus $15 per line for internet access, and we've used Z for that. So your expression should be 70 plus 20X plus 15Y plus 15Z. Does yours match that? Good. Remember that your terms may be in a different order because addition is commutative, which means it doesn't matter what order we add these things in. As long as we have the same terms, we're going to get the same answer. So let's analyze this really quickly just to make sure we understand what these pieces represent. Again, $70 is just that fee that you're going to pay for the 1,500 minutes that you're sharing. $20 is the price for every line, and we're using the variable X to represent that. $15 is the price per line for unlimited texting, which we're using the variable Y to represent. And $15 is the price per line for internet access, which we're using the variable Z to represent. Okay, so now we're going to do that same thing again, but this time we're going to write an expression for Company B. So if we take a look at the chart, Company B charges $90 for that 1,500 shared minutes. Company B charges $15 per phone line, $10 per line for unlimited texting, and $20 per line for internet access. So your job this time is to, again, write an expression, which won't have an equal sign, using variables X, Y, and Z, and to represent Company B. If you need to, you can look back at the expression that we wrote for Company A to help you out. Go ahead and try that now. All right, let's take a look at how you did for company B. So the monthly fee for company B is $90 plus $15 per phone line plus $10 for unlimited texting plus $20 per line for internet access. So for company B, you should have 90 plus 15x plus 10y plus 20z. Okay, and remember, keep in mind that this is commutative, which means if yours is in a different order, it's okay, as long as you have those same terms. Okay? So we have one last one to do, and this time we need to write an expression to represent company C. So we take a look at the chart. Company C charges us $200 for those 1,500 shared minutes. Company C also charges us $10 per phone line. However, company C is a little bit different because the price per line for unlimited texting and the price per line for internet access are both included in the monthly fee. So your job, again, is to write an expression for company C using the variables x, y, and z in order to represent what they're going to charge us. Now, be careful with this one. It's a little bit trickier since these two options are included in the monthly fee. I'm going to pause and let you go ahead and write an expression for company C. All right, let's take a look at what you were able to come up with for company C. So for company C, we do have the $200 monthly fee for those 1,500 shared minutes. So 200 plus, we're also going to pay $10 per phone line. But this time, the line for unlimited texting, the price for unlimited texting, and the price for internet access are both already included in that monthly fee. So we're not going to have a y or z variable in this one because they're already included. So you should have 200 plus 10x. Okay, so now that we have all of our expressions, we're going to use them in order to analyze the different scenarios. So let's see which plan is best for our certain scenario. So we're going to have, let me jot this down for you. We're going to have 4 people who want phone lines. So 4 phone lines. We're going to have 4 people who want unlimited texting. So 4 for texting. And we're going to have 2 people who want internet lines. So 2 for internet. And we're going to use the 3 expressions that we just wrote in order to figure out which one of these companies is going to be the best one to go with for our specific scenario. So I'm going to help you out with company A to start out with. So let's go back to our expression for company A. Again, it's an expression, not an equation, so there's no equal sign here. So let me section this off. So for company A, we're going to have the $70 fee for the 1,500 shared minutes, plus $20 for every phone line, and we're going to have 4 people that want phone lines, plus $15 for every line with unlimited texting. We also have 4 of those, plus $15 for every line with internet, and we're going to have 2 of those. So before we move on with the math, let's make sure you understand where these numbers came from. $70 for that 1,500 shared minutes, $20 per phone line, we have 4 of them, $15 per line for unlimited texting, we have 4 of those as well, $15 for every line with internet access, and we have 2 of those. So now that we've substituted some values for our variables, we're going to go ahead and do the math. So we've got 70 plus 20 times 4, which is 80, plus 15 times 4, which is 60, plus 15 times 2, which is 30. Pause for a second so you can write that down. And then adding all of those together, we figure out that Company A is going to charge us $240. So for this specific scenario, using Company A, we would have to pay $240. Okay? Now what I'd like for you to do is, using this same scenario, figure out what it's going to cost us to use Company B. So you can look back at what we did for Company A if you need some help. I'm going to pause now while you try out Company B. All right, let's go ahead and see what you were able to come up with for Company B. So for Company B, we know that, let me section this off. We know that we have the $90 that we're going to have to pay for the 1,500 minutes, plus 15x. X in this case represented the price per phone line, and we do want 4 phone lines. So we're going to substitute 4 in place of that X, plus $10 for every line of unlimited texting, which was Y, and we do have 4 of those, so we're going to replace Y with 4. And then plus $20 for every line with internet access, and we did want 2 of those, so we're going to replace Z with 2. So $90 for the 1,500 shared minutes, $15 for every line, we have 4 phone lines, $10 for every line with unlimited texting, we have 4 lines with texting, and then $20 for every line with internet access, and we do have 2 of those. Okay, so when we do the math, we're going to have 90 plus 15 times 4, which is 60, plus 10 times 4, which is 40, plus 20 times 2, which is also 40. Give me a second to jot that down. Okay, and so adding all of those together, we do come up with $230. So Company B would charge us $230 in this scenario. Okay, so the last thing to do now is to figure out for this particular scenario, what is Company C going to charge us? I'm going to go ahead and pause while you figure that out. Okay, so let's check your work for Company C. So Company C, we have 200 plus 10x. So we have $200 for those 1,500 minutes that we're sharing, plus $10 for every line, which was X. We know that we want 4 phone lines, so we're going to substitute 4 in place of X. One more time, $200 for the 1,500 shared minutes, $10 for every line, and we do have 4 lines. So when we do the math here, we get 200 plus 10 times 4, which is 40. So 200 plus 40 gives us $240. Okay, so now that we've done the math, we figured out what all 3 of these companies will charge us for this scenario. Which company should we choose and why? If you picked Company B, you are correct. Company A and Company C are both going to cost $240, while Company B only costs $230. So we're going to save $10 by choosing Company B. Good work. So So now we're going to have, now we're going to have another scenario for you to practice with. Get this out of the way. All right, so using those same expressions that we used before, we have a different scenario this time. So this time, we're going to have 4 people that want phone lines. So 4 phone lines. We're going to have 4 people that want texting. And then everybody is also going to want internet. So how many phones with internet are we going to need? Yep, we need 4 of them. So 4 internet. So for this scenario, 4 phone lines, 4 texting, 4 internet. Okay? So I'm going to work out company A and you work along with me, and then I'll give you a chance to work out company B and company C to figure out which one of these works better. So we're using those same expressions that we came up with for our scenario before. So for company A, that was 70 plus 20x plus 15y plus 15z. Okay, so we're using that same expression. Remember, it's an expression, so it doesn't have an equal sign. This time, we want 4 phone lines. So we have the $70 fee for the 1,500 minutes, $20 for every line, and we have 4 lines, plus $15 for unlimited texting. We have 4 people that want unlimited texting, plus $15 for everyone that wants internet, and we have 4 people that want internet. I'm going to pause so you can jot that down. Okay, so doing the math here, we come up with 70 plus 80 plus 60 plus 60. And when we add those together, we do come up with, stay for just a second, double check myself. When we add those together, we do come up with $270. So for 4 lines, 4 texting, 4 internet, company A is going to charge us $270. So now what I'm going to do is pause so that you can work out what company B is going to charge for this situation. If you need some help, look back at what we did for company A. While you're working, I'm going to go ahead and write the expression up here so that we're ready to go. Okay, so just like we did with company A, we have the $90 fee plus $15 per line. We have 4 lines, plus $10 per line for texting. We have 4 people that want texting, and $20 per line for internet, and we have 4 people that want internet. So do the math. 90 plus 60 plus 40 plus 80. And that one does give us $270. So company B is also going to cost $270. Last one here is company C. We need to figure out from this situation what company C is going to charge us. I'll pause while you figure that out. While you're working, I'll go ahead and write the expression. So we are going to do 200 plus 10x in this case. So 200 for the 1,500 minutes plus $10 for every line. We do have 4 lines. Doing the math, that gives us 200 plus 40, which gives us $240. Okay, hope you got that one. All right, so now that we've figured out what each of the 3 companies is going to charge us for 4 phone lines, 4 texting, and 4 internet, which company would you choose for this situation and why? You're right. You should choose company C. You can save $30 by choosing company C in this case. Good work, everybody. So I hope that you were able to see how expressions assist us to make good choices in the real world. These are skills that you will continue to use throughout your life. Today we reviewed creating and evaluating expressions to analyze real-world situations. We reviewed that the major difference between an expression and an equation is that equations have equal signs while expressions do not. We also reviewed that a variable is just a placeholder for an unknown value and that most of the time, traditionally, we use letters for variables. I hope you're seeing some connections to equal groups and repeated addition in multiplication. You really did a good job today. After the video, you will have some problems to practice on your own. Good luck and do your best.